Hi guys, we're going to talk about concurrency today. Let's start with the definition. Concurrency is a term for breaking up a single process into independent components and specifying how these components safely share the data. So when we think about concurrency, let's actually go with the example. I think it's going to be easier to understand. So we have this one big file, which is like around 1 giga, and it has a lot of characters in it. And we're going to count each of them and come up with what is the number of characters. And we're going to also look into how long it took actually to run this program. And there is one classical way without concurrency and just reading the data and putting to the memory and iterating each character and giving us the result. So let's see when we run this what we're gonna get. So it took around 23 seconds, and we are going to focus letter A, and which is around like 4 million characters. So we're gonna run this the same thing with the concurrency and see how fast we can get this, and we're gonna look at this number. It should be the same. So let's close this one and start defining here. So the concurrency is being handled in the Golang among the goroutines to communicate through the channels. So we need to define one channel. So results map, let's say. So we also defined a map because we're gonna get each character and count them as a map. So afterwards, let's maybe even start timing as well. And then let's read the file. And if it is return error, let's panic here not to go any further, but also we need to free the resources with the saying deferring the clause. So we need another function here, which is gonna count the letters. And this should get a file. But as I said, we have to split the task into the chunks. So we're gonna get the starting point. So we're gonna read the data with the different goroutines, but each of them gonna start reading the file from the different part. So let's define it here, which is gonna be integer. And let's start from the byte 0. And we're gonna iterate through reading these count letters, right? This has to be with the go, so goroutine. So let's define function. All right, but yeah, we need to pass this off variable here as well. And we're gonna read the file. We need a buffer for that. It's gonna be byte, and we need some constants here. So let's get them. Let's read each chunk as 10 megabytes. So 10 megabyte is 10 million bytes. And let's define also chunk size as 10 megabytes. And we're going to use this chunk size here as well. And we have to pass, so we have to pass the file here with the off, and we need to define the file and pass it to here. And this has to be pointer since we are getting pointer as well. And let's define chunk size. This has to be off, sorry. And we're gonna get this size amount of data we had read, and also we're gonna get the error. If the error is not nil, also it has to be not end of the file because we will still need the data. Then return nil. And we're gonna return actually a map. And to be able to return the map, let's define local map here. And we're gonna iterate through the buffer. It has to be char, but of course tilde size. And as a string, we have to convert it to the string from the byte, and we have to count up and return. Right, the count letter is like this. To be able to properly handle the channels, let's define wait group, and with each iteration increase the wait group 1, and as a last thing in the function, let's get it done. And we will need another gofunc here to it has to be wait, and then we're gonna close the channel, and this has to be written to channel as well. All right, there's one thing we need to, let's get this and define, as maybe here, the file size. This can be taken from the file as well, but let's, for the simplicity, get it from here. And since this loop is going forever, we need to, off has to be smaller than the file size, and also we need to increase each time to off amount with the chunk size. And also let's print the time, how long it took, and maybe also the result map. But to be able to get the result map, we need to get the partial map from actually result map, because each chunk is returning the result to the result map, and we need to get the final. And for that, let's define the final map, and this has to be again the same type, and we're going to iterate from each char and count from the partial map, and final map is going to get the string. Sorry, it's already string here, so we just get the car, and we're going to add it as a count here. Okay, I think we're done with everything. Let's see how long it's gonna take. All right, one more thing here. This has to be also with the make, and let's run it. As you see now, it took around 4 seconds, and if you look at the A, and it's the 4 million like the other script was running, but it's much faster. So with the handling the data with the channels, we took the advantage of the concurrency. And this kind of I/O operations, I think it's safe and exact use case to for the concurrency. All right, that's it for today. Please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.